Hello, guys. How you doing? This is JP Sarri, and welcome again to another episode of this podcast. I want to talk today about expand on some of the news that I actually share some time ago, a few weeks ago, in one of my videos where I talk about the possibility of John Byrne coming back to Marvel Comics, to the XMen franchise, which has been all over the place. A lot of people have talk about it. There's a lot of news about it, a lot of posts, a lot of different websites discussing it, and of course we have expanded. They have expanded on the possibility of having John Byrne, which a lot of fans, including myself, would be extremely excited about. Now, there is a video that was just recently posted actually yesterday by SYFY WIRE, which is a website. It's a channel here in YouTube where actually I highly recommend. They don't have as much followers, which I'm very surprised, because they cover a lot of that has to do with comic books. They did a great panel interviews over there at New York Comic Con. And they interview a lot of legends of the in the industry and a lot of artists, and they do all kind of great things. But they don't have a big big following, which is it's a shame, because I've seen other channels in YouTube where they have over 1 million followers, and definitely their content is not near as good as this content. Which if you haven't followed them, I highly recommend it. I really get a lot of good information from them. They're very accurate. They're very good at it, and they have such great interviews with a lot of insight in this case, with the artists. So I highly recommend it. But yeah, they have an interview with John Byrne when they expanded in regards to what was said at Boston Comic Con, where he had a special breakfast. He had a breakfast when Sobalski, the editor-in-chief at Marvel, and it was just a friendly conversation, and they had this meeting. It was technically part business meeting, according to the video, according to John, and they discussed the possibility, the possible opportunity there for him to come back to Marvel. Of course, John Byrne presented his idea what he would like to do. He decides to go back to Marvel, particularly to the X-Men. For him, it's not just to go back into Marvel and continue with whatever Marvel is doing now with the X-Men, but just go back in time and kind of reshape from that moment on. Let's say from the time where, let's say that Jean Grey, the Phoenix, never dies, and he wants to restart from that point on and actually create like an Elseworld adventure. Like, if the possibility of Jean Grey never dying, she never dies, so you can start from that moment on, kind of scratch everything that has happened after that and start fresh on a separate storyline and a separate world. To me, it's a great idea. It definitely would be great. I know that Byrne wasn't happy about the outcome. One of the reasons why he left Marvel, the X-Men at that time, and he dedicated himself to do the Fantastic Four. So it would be phenomenal to see it that way. Definitely, the X-Men has evolved all these years. This happened back in 1980. So you're looking at a long history, over 30 years of, really the world, almost 40 years by now, by today's standards. So close to 40 years. So it's been so long, and of course we have seen the X-Men moving from one place to the other, different storylines, different writers, different developments. But to me, the classic, the golden time for the X-Men, the one that really everyone admires, is the time, of course, when he was involved in the project. He was part of it. So seeing it, going back to it, and getting the opportunity to redo everything on his own vision and his own world. Of course, he's saying that this has to be some changes because you want to bring new readers to the book, but by that you have to maybe change and modernize some of course, the costumes, the settings, because you don't want to restart back in 1980. You want to start in modern times, but like if the story never happens, like you just, this gap of almost 40 years never happened in time, so you don't, you can kind of start fresh, so new readers can feel comfortable with it. So I think if there's a person that can come up with something different and can adapt something and change and really make it likable, in my opinion, it's no one like John Byrne. He did that with, the Man of Steel, which is still up to this day by many is considered a controversial run. But to me, it really defined Superman and Clark Kent particularly. It really gave him some of the attributes that he definitely have today that we can see as the norm. I think they were introduced by him. And of course, DC has done really a lengthy job into trying to dismantle his legacy of what he did, because they were never really satisfied with the way he did it. Which is sad, because I believe that his Superman was one of the greatest Supermans that we have. Yes, he took a lot of things. He explained things. He removed some things, some elements that were part of the classic of the golden age of comics. And part of the Silver Age, and to really create this Bronze Age of Superman, to really give him a more weight to the character, a better understanding of the character. And to me, it stands as one of the best interpretations or one of the best events for Superman. So I believe that he can do the same with the X-Men. And, a lot of people are really excited about that opportunity. I believe that the possibilities are there. Cebulski was recently also interviewed about the same matter at the New York Comic Con, and he said that, he explained that, he would like to have Byrne, but he says it's in his court now. The possibilities are there if John Byrne decides to come back. And of course, John Byrne, on the other hand, is saying that he wants to come back if the opportunities are given the way he wants it. And John Byrne says that, he's been successful. Even though he has not been as involved in a lot of comics in recent years, he's been successful as doing commissions, and people still love him. So he that's his job. That's what he does for a living. He does other projects by himself. He has his own website, so he still has a cult following, and he survives. So in many ways, he feels that he doesn't have to just go back because of the money. I think he can make it just without it. He wants to go back if the opportunity is given, is the land, if the soil is fertile enough, if the opportunities are given, and he's given the green light to do what he wants to do. And I feel that that's good. In other instances, we know that sometimes and he's saying it this way, because that right now comic books are so dense. There's so much stuff that has been added to it. For a lot of the old writers or old creators to come back and kind of retake everything and start from that moment on, the continuity of the comics is really tough. It's really hard for them to do it, because it means that you have to adapt that someone else's changes to your storyline, because they're the ones that put this changes there, and someone else brings some changes, and you have to adapt from that moment on and take from that moment and move forward. So it's just really hard. So it's easier just to kind of erase all of that and start from the moment that you finish or you stop doing the work, and just take it in a fresh new approach in a direction that you actually wanted from the get-go. So I feel that that's the best approach, in my opinion. It might not be part of the continuity, but I think it would be great to have it just as part of their own, or dialogue in a different run, just an Elseworld run, like Chris Claremont has done kind of with some of the stuff he's doing, and I know he's back at Marvel doing some stuff with them. So things like this, I think, are important for for a lot of comic book fans, in my opinion, particularly the older fans, be able to see this heroes of ours, going back into being taken by these artists that are also heroes, and for them to kind of do what they wanted to do from the beginning, and things that we probably wish could have been done, but it wasn't done. And we've been waiting for so long for those changes to happen. So really excited news. I'm really happy just to hear that. I don't know how you feel about it. I feel that it seems that if there's a dialogue right now, and John Byrne is talking about it, which he hasn't talked about it for years, the fact that Cebulski and Marvel are talking about it, the fact that fans are talking about it, means that their possibilities are there. We might not see what's going behind closed doors. So we might not see that there's some, more business, not more like a casual meeting, but more like a business type of meeting where money is discussed, where the possibilities are discussed. So hopefully, and this is something that I'm really hoping, this shapes to be the door that is opening wide open, for him to come back. Not only for him, it will be great, and this allows other artists to go back into the books and be able to kind of bring their ideas or their dreams or what they wanted to do from the beginning, but maybe because editorial demands, or because of the fan demands, or because of the powers to be during that time, they were unable to finish what they started and they wanted to finish. So I don't know. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts? Are you excited about that? Please let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also follow me and listen to my podcast here. Please subscribe to it. Share with your friends. And, thank you for your support. And don't forget, we continue making videos every day. So just check them out. And again, God bless you. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.